Hi Armin, in light of our conversation yesterday, I'm going to start feeding you just some training or some techniques in Photoshop that I use regularly. While you won't need it right now, it's hard for me to think about all of the things that I do. It will be later on. So as I go and I find things that you may or may not know, I'm just going to start creating videos and sending them to you, so you'll have a good grounding when I finally throw you. There's a couple of pages that I need created, and in the future we may be able to do even more work together. So what I've got at the moment to kick it off is a Facebook tile and also a Pinterest tile. Now while this one, while this one looks good, where I've got the people here and I've got got them looking at the cliffs, which is all atmospheric. This one, I can't get everything in the whole shot, simply because it's very much a portrait landscape, and that doesn't really cut it, and this doesn't really cut it either. So rather than putting a new image in, I'm going to use Photoshop to bring the two together. Now what do I mean by that? I'm going to get these people here and I'm going to sit them about here so that when I get the frame, it's going to have everything in one. So this uses the power of Photoshop masking. Now if you've done Photoshop masking and you know about it, that's essentially what this video is going to be about, so you don't really need to watch it. But if you don't know about the great things of Photoshop masking, we'll get into it. So to start with, I always use smart objects. I'm not sure if you've used them with you've been using your own layout. So smart objects, if you've got an image, you simply right click on it and you can create convert to a smart object. And what that does is it basically puts that image, tucks it away, and this is the revealed layer. And you can see even this one's got another smart layer within it. So if I edit the contents of that, it's like an onion layer. So what is that? It looks like I've worked on it before for some reason. So that's created that. Maybe I've brought these people in previously. Now I'm happy with that image, so what I might do is, just to save on file size, is rasterize the layer and then save that. So this is now the base image. And just wait for that, I'll just pause the video. Okay, so yeah, this is the base image, and this is the smart object. The beauty of smart objects is I can, if I go Control T to bring up transform, and then I hold Shift and Alt together. When I double click and then drag in and out, it's all proportional by holding Shift and Alt. Now what that does is, because it's a smart object, if I double click and apply that, if you weren't in a smart object and then you size this down and then resized it back up, you'll lose the quality, because Photoshop will resample the image at the smaller size, and then it loses all the pixels. And then when you make it bigger again, it's only got those pixels to work with. A smart object it's always in the background, the main image, so all you're doing is resizing. So yeah, that's why I use Smart Objects. You've always got the layer underneath preserved. Just on that with the transform, if I just hold the control button and then drag, what you can start doing is changing the perspective of images. Now I rarely use this, but sometimes it does come in handy. So that's just holding the control button. Anyway, let's undo that. Let's go back one. I didn't go back to open. Okay, so back to there. Now, what I wanted to do, as I said, is get these people over here. So what I'm going to do is just make a simple selection from about there, which will give me plenty to feather with. And then Control J duplicates the layer. And I'm going to hold Shift and move it across so that it doesn't move up and down. Now I'll just change the opacity so I can put these people in the right spot, and thinking about the layout, how it's going to be. Yeah, it's probably fine there. Okay, now clicking on the mask layer. So essentially, if you don't know about mask layers, white means that it's completely visible, and fully black in there would completely make this invisible. So for instance, if I was to just click in there, Control I is the inverse, so it's now black. You can see that it's completely gone. Control I again, the inverse comes back. So what I can do though is get a brush, a big brush. I'm pressing the right bracket and the left bracket buttons on the computer, and that makes the brush move up and down quite easily. Now the hardness, I want it to be soft. Which way is soft? Hardness 0%, probably that way. Let me have a look. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do now is start painting with black down here. And you can see over here that the mask is starting to fill up with black. So essentially, I'm now going to feather in, and you can see that I've got the opacity on about 50%. You can play around with that, and you'll get a feel for this yourself. So that's the big stuff done. And then I'm just going to make the sharper stuff real with a small brush, bringing in the foreground. The good thing about nature is it's very forgiving. You try to do this with anything man-made and it's very difficult, but nature makes it all so easy. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's all happened pretty quickly. Some things take more work, obviously. Some things require less work. And as I said, the beauty of nature is quite forgiving. So anyway, I'll muck around with that. So that essentially, once I've fixed all that up, will give me the frame that I need to then go into here. And there we go. I've just worked on it a little bit, and that's the final result. So you can see that, you know, unless you were looking, I mean, I can't even tell by looking at it that that wasn't the actual photograph. So a good little technique, and something that you'll use when trying to make images fit both horizontally and vertically within It's been used many times with it throughout the website. You wouldn't even know, but yeah, a really good technique. So whenever I come across it, I'll just keep sending you these videos if you're happy to watch them. And yeah, look forward to more coming soon. Thanks, and cheers.